This is Isaiah chapter 3, verse 25. Thy men shall fall by the sword, and thy mighty in the war. I want to first off give all praise and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, HaKadosh. Double honors to the Apostle Great Millstone, who will well. Peace and salutations to the elders in Akim, pushing his truth and sincerity throughout the four corners of the face of the earth. And to the elect who are receiving this truth, I say grace be unto you. I'm the brother Kahan from the GMS Dallas camp coming to you today just with a quick little lesson. Just want to highlight the fact that, you know, uh, there will be a draft that's going to eventually be initiated. You see, as we get deeper and deeper, into the prophecies and into the this Middle East conflict. A lot of prophecies are taking place. We know that the MOTB, has to be implemented. But also much that's happening quicker. You're seeing now that they're trying to instate rather a national draft. You see, so I wanted to get a couple of articles and get a couple of precepts, and hopefully this will be edifying. So it says, real quick, it's pulling up. All right. It says, draft panic grows. What that $250,000 fine really means, right? So you see, it says, with Middle East tensions rising, whispers of a draft are morphing into anxious questions, and a massive penalty is grabbing attention. You see, said the Trump administration hasn't ruled out military options as the Iran-U.S. Israel conflict intensifies. Right? It said, and an updating National Defense Authorization Act set up automatic selective selection. So, let me keep reading it. Right? It says U.S. Israel conflict intensifies, and an updating National Defense Authorization Act set up automatic selective service registration for certain Americans. That's right, man. In order for, as certain analysts have said, there has to be boots on the ground in order for, this administration to really put his foot down as you know, uh, going into Iran and trying to win as they put it. You see, because again, a lot of these military people are realizing that they don't really want to fight this war, man. See, I believe that it was this one Marine that came into Congress and basically he got his arm broken because he was basically uh, you know yelling out, shouting out that he doesn't want his fellow Marines to be sent into this worthless army. I mean, worthless war, man. See, so there's a lot of opposition towards this war, but yet and still, this administration is going to have to put its foot down. They're going to have to put boots on the ground. So I'm going to go on. I'm going to continue on with this little article. It says, Press Secretary Caroline Levitt told Fox's Maria Bartiromo that President Trump keeps all options on the table. Though a draft is quote unquote not part of the current plan, still failing to register with Selective Service can carry severe consequences, including a hefty fine, as current law requires. Requires male U.S. citizens and immigrants age 18 to 25 to register. You see? And you better believe a lot of people are going to be in opposition to this. You're going to have people, rioting. You're going to have, there were stories of what people used to do in the past. They literally try to injure themselves in order to avoid, the draft. You see? So you're going to have a lot of that going on during these times. Let me get a quick precept real quick. Sorry about that. Okay, this is going to be Jeremiah chapter 11, verse 22. Sorry about that. Jeremiah chapter 11, verse 22. All right. It says, therefore, thus saith the Lord of hosts, behold, I will punish them. The young men shall die by the sword, their sons and their daughters shall die by famine. That's right, man. So you're gonna, as we start seeing this war prolong, it gets deeper and deeper, man. You're gonna see a lot of you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans are gonna be called to to the line of duty, man. You see, and again, that's gonna create an anti-war, sentiment here, man. People are going to be rioting, man. People not going to want to send their sons and daughters into war, man, into a frivolous war. But again, prophecy has to speak. This is us warning, you know, the house of Israel that these things must come to pass, man. You see, because this devil's pride, Esau, Edom, their pride, man, has been has been called out, man. You see. So again, reading that Jeremiah 11:22, it says, well, therefore, thus saith the Lord of hosts, behold, I will punish them. The young men shall die by the sword. What's that sword, man? That sword is war, man. That's the sword. This modern military industrial complex, man. You see, it says they shall die by the sword. It said their sons and their daughters shall die by famine. That's what war causes, man. A lot of death, destruction, pestilence, famine. You see. So let's go back to the article real quick. See, and as a result of people not wanting to be drafted, they're gonna either have to they're gonna face some hard choices, man. They're gonna either face up to 5 years into prison, or they're gonna be they're gonna have a hefty fine, man, which is what the article is saying, $250,000, man. You see, so I'm gonna continue on with the article. It says. Gotta stop that. It says reinstating conscription would require Congress and the president to act, and the U.S. hasn't drafted since 1973. Proposals could prioritize certain groups during a major crisis, and while clergy and ministry students must register, they're rarely called. The Senate Armed Service Committee has advanced a version extending registration to women, though the House has not. So again, you so-called women who say that, you brave, you don't need a man, and you're going to be called into service too. You're going to be in the front line. You saying that you're equal to men. You talking about feminism and all this stuff. You're going to be called to that front line too, man. You see. So because Esau, he doesn't care about the gender the gender line. He don't care about you going on podcasts, doing all that stuff. He wants you in this war. You see. Let me bring out another quick article real quick. Just to highlight. It's not going to be too long. Just want to highlight that this national draft is a part of prophecy, man. Right. And this is just fair use. This is fair use. Real quick, it's coming up. All right. So like it's taking a lot of time. It says U.S. military, is there a draft in 2026? And they've already drafted the law. The law is already on the books. It's just a amount of time of it actually being executed, right? It says in 2024, the House of Representatives passed a measure to automatically register men aged 18 to 26 for the selective service as part of the annual National Defense Authorization Act, NDAA, right? It says while a draft has not been invoked in over 50 years, federal law still mandates that nearly all male U.S. citizens and immigrants register upon turning 18 or face felony charges. You see, so if you don't adhere to this law, you know, just supposedly you get drafted, And if you decide not to go, you're gonna have to face felony charges, man. You see, it says the draft remains inactive. It will require specific authorization from both Congress and the president to be reinstated during a national emergency. So again, man, this is serious, man. This is what's going to cause a lot of the rioting, as states in the second Esdras, the 15th chapter. You see, they shall not regard their princes. You see, this is what it's going to cause, alongside with the with the high prices, the joblessness. All this is just is a a powder keg. It's erupting. People are already being stirred up. You see, it says a measure passed by the House of Representatives in 2024 automatically registers men age 18 to 26 for selective service. It was part of the annual National Defense Authorization Act, NDAA, which sets out the U.S. government's military and national security priorities over the next fiscal year. You see, he says, while it hasn't been invoked in over half a century, it's mandatory for all male U.S. citizens to register for the selective service, also known as the military draft, when they turn 18. Failure to register is classified as a felony and comes with a host of legal challenges. You see? So not only are you going to be fined $250,000 or up to $250,000, you could face prison time, man. See, and that's not going to sit well with the population, man. They're already under a lot of stress as it is. You see, now you have this war. You forcing people to to uh, basically put their sons and daughters in harm's way. You see, it says while there isn't currently a draft in place, Congress and the president can reinstate the draft and force male citizens to serve in the military in the event of a national emergency or war. And where are we now? We're in war right now. Who are the primary subjects who are going to be put in harm's way? It's you so-called Blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. You see, these congressmen and women, these elite, they're not going to send their sons and daughters to on the front lines to die for a frivolous war. You see, that's these draconian laws. That's how Esau, keeps his foot on you so-called Blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, man. You see, right? So let me just jump down real quick. It's not going to be too long. It says, what is the draft? It said what we know. The military draft, officially known as the Selective Service System, requires nearly all male U.S. citizens and male immigrants ages 18 to 25 to register with the government in accordance with the federal law. You see, and even that is that's against the law of the Most High, man. You see, you trying to act as if you're over the people. You see, they did that in let me get a quick scripture. Let me get that second. I think it's Luke the second chapter. You see, all these things are just being done over again, right? This is Luke second chapter, right? It says, and it came to pass in those days that there went out a decree from Caesar Augustus that all the world should be taxed. And this taxing was first made when Cyrus was governing of Syria, and all went to be taxed, every one into his city. So let me bring that out. I think because there's a Greek word that goes into that being taxed. Just bear with me real quick. Let's see. Let me just pull this up real quick. Apakotha. Right, Luke chapter 2. That's it. The taxing Salaki. Yeah, that's, what's it called? Luke second chapter. Sorry, Salaki. There was a term that I'm trying to find where it says the taxing of Caesar Augustus taxes. What is it called? It says Caesar Augustus decreed a census taxing through the Roman world, prompting Joseph and Mary to travel to Bethlehem to be registered. Right, and there was a there is it. That's what it's called, apography. The Roman census or apography involved registering household and property for taxation. It was also used for military, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. Yeah, but that's the point. Was that same type of taxing, that was made throughout Bethlehem, that was also used to register people for military as well. It was a Greek word that I wanted to pull up, but Salaki. But again, it's just letting you see that these things are being done in these times. You see. Let me get a quick precept, then I'll close it out. This is Second Chronicles 29:9. Second Chronicles 29:9. It says, "For lo, our fathers have fallen by the sword, and our sons and our daughters and our wives are in captivity for this." You see? And that's how it keeps you so-called Blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans in captivity. You don't understand that you're in captivity if your oppressors can just automatically put your sons and daughters, in selective services, see? And put them in harm's way for a meaningless war. You see? And what's going to happen in that? There's going to be a lot of fallen sons and daughters of you so-called Blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, man. See, that's why it's so important to understand history. It's so important to understand that we have to come back to our Lord and Savior, man, so He can deliver us from the judgment of this place, man. You see, because there's no turning back after there. Just like analysts have been stating, once boots start to hit the ground in Iran, in the Middle East, there's no turning back, man. That's it. World War III is definitely on. You see, but again, uh, we are commanded to warn our people and give them the understanding of the scriptures through prophecy, so that they can be comforted, during these hard times. You see, because it's only going to get worse. You see, let me get Second Chronicles 7:14. Second Chronicles 7:14 says, "If my people, which are called by my name, shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven and will forgive their sin and will heal their land." You see, that's the whole purpose of understanding why we're going through these terrible times, man, so that we can understand, we can draw nearer to our power, man, so He can deliver us from from this wicked place. Because prophecy is gonna take place whether you hear or forbear, man. See, so again, we are to learn and understand that we're still in captivity, and we still need deliverance. But anyway, I'm not gonna. I think I hit the main points of this lesson. Hopefully, this was edifying. I'm going to give all praises and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, HaKadosh. Double honors to the Apostle Great Millstone, who will. Peace and salutations to the elders and Akim, pushing this truth and sincerity throughout the four corners of the face of the earth. And to the elect who are receiving this truth, I say grace be unto you. I want you to, stay positive, cling on to our power, pray daily, you know, and Lord willing, we'll be delivered out this wicked place soon. All right. Kwam Yasharala.